Hey, Josh. My name is Jethro, and I am a school principal, and I just love your podcast. And here's what I'm interested in. I've got the summers off, and what I would like to do is start a window cleaning business to do in the summertime. But I also have a young family, and I don't really want to go out and hustle. I want to start at the automate stage instead of the hustle and work a million hours stage. So I'm willing to put in the time and all that, but I've also got other things that I'm doing. So would it be possible for me to do that, to start in a more advanced stage, or do I have to hustle and put in the time myself first? I'm not trying to find the easy way out per se. I'm just trying to be able to not go back to that working 90 hours a week, and instead be able to spend that time with my kids. So anyway, I probably sound like a wuss, but I'd love your feedback on that.
Welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast with Joshua Latimer, where we discuss business, life, family, faith, struggle, fire, pain, and ultimately winning.
It's time to take massive action. Look, I can't work harder on your life or business than you do. It's ultimately all on you.
You know, God created all the food the birds would ever need, but he doesn't put it in their nest. You've got to go get it.
10 out of 10 people die. So how about doing something today that actually matters while you still can? What up, everybody? Josh here from the Quick Talk Podcast. Well, this is my first voicemail that I'm putting on the podcast. I got a whole bunch of them from you guys. They're amazing. It's so cool. So it's really cool to just hear the voice of the people that are listening to this and get all the nice things that you've said, and also a lot of really good questions, which I'll be sharing. It's gonna be awesome. So for everybody that's done that, thank you. I'm kind of organizing those, and I'm going to get to as many as I can. But this one comes from a high school, or I don't know if he said high school, but a principal who wants to start a business. And he was wondering if he can skip directly to the automated business stage instead of going through the boots on the ground, hustle, grind, wear yourself out stage. And as a father of 5, I totally understand that line of thinking. And I have lots of thoughts on it. I thought it was a really, really cool question, one that I've never got asked before. So I spent some time thinking, and here's my thoughts on it. Yes, you can, because with business, to start a business, to create momentum in a business, you have to use either time or money to spin up the initial momentum, right? That's why when people sit around and think, they just think about something they'd like to do, nothing will happen because you're not taking action. So you have to take action, or you have to hire people to take action. And typically you invest your time, right? But if you have the resources, you can hire and scale a business quicker if you know what you're doing, without doing some of the lower level things in the beginning. But there's a cost to be paid for it, especially with this kind of business. Now, if you were going to invest in a mini storage or go into real estate or get some rental properties, that's different. But with a home service company, there's a lot of value in starting at the bottom and learning through experience kind of how the business works, what it actually feels like to go in the field and work 12 hours doing really hard work that's underbid, and then you fix it, right? Or you learn how to efficiently do this rather than inefficiently do it. So it's a lot harder if you don't have the real life experience and skills required to build the team correctly. So it's not like it's not impossible. I had actually a call with someone down south who is pretty interesting named Adam. And he was a friend of Bob Walker's, who's a listener and in the boot camp and a friend of mine. And he's like, hey, can you help this guy out, right? And he came from the corporate world. And it seemed like he had a pretty high, maybe a C-suite executive type job. He got downsized out of that job or something. Long story short, he started a home service company. And he's in his 50s and he needs it to work. And he quickly got it up to $30,000 a month. I think his first month was $15,000 in revenue, and then 30, and then I think he said 40. And so he's kind of doing what this caller is asking me here. Like, how do I establish a larger automated business super fast that doesn't require me to go in the field? But there's a great cost to it. There is. Like, there's risk, right? What happens is you open yourself up to being vulnerable by not understanding the mechanics of the service itself, of what it feels like to go through the service. And the reason you're vulnerable is because you can't properly coach your team. You can't come from like a place of empathy, and you can't just always throw money at problems, right? Like sometimes you have to just go through things, and then it's not about you cleaning something. It's about who you become and the changes in your level of understanding, all of that stuff in your brain. Is the real asset at the end of it, not the fact that you lost 10 pounds because you were working really hard. It's just good to understand it. So you're at risk because you're going to be too dependent on other people because you don't even know how to do your own business. So that's the risk. Now, something like window cleaning, it's relatively simple to do, but there are nuances to it. And if you want to skip right to the automation stage, there is still a lot of groundwork that has to be laid. And if you've never done it before, you can't solve all your problems just by spending money and just by delegating it. You just can't. It won't work. Now, for example, if I was going to start back over in the home service industry, someone like me, because I've cycled already, because I've done it, it's a different story because I already know everything. I already know what to do. So I could just use money to spin up a nice company and get the team in place, but I have a level of understanding that gives me an unfair advantage to do that. If you're new to the home service industry, if you're new to understanding, the sales and the marketing and how to acquire customers and how to keep them forever and how to build a culture with your staff, with your technicians, if you have already done that, then that's one thing. But if you haven't, like, how are you going to do that just by writing checks? It's hard for me to see that. So technically it's possible to do it, but my encouragement to you would be to give it a season at least where you are way more hands-on, boots on the ground. It's for a little while. It'd be highly valuable. I think you'd have a higher likelihood of success because it's exciting to spend money and to grow really quick. But if you're at risk, like what happens if your employee leaves? What happens if, I don't know. To me, it feels like going through the process is really valuable. So you can do it, but if you're going to do it, make sure that you plug into like a really high-level community of people who have already done it, or join the boot camp, or get a mastermind going or something so that you have people to like bounce your issues off as they happen. But I thought that was a really cool, interesting question. And for everybody else that wants to do that, all you got to do is give me a call, and you can leave up to a 3-minute voice message and have a comment or a suggestion for something we should do on the show, or ask a question. The phone number is 810-201-4555. That's 810-201-4555, and leave me a message. That's really cool. I also wanted to kind of close the loop on the last 2 days podcast where I was doing a coaching call from someone in my Automate, Grow, Sell Bootcamp who has a franchise. And this is kind of related to what I just talked about, because franchises are like two different things. They're not bad. They can be a shortcut. But I've worked with so many individual franchisees that, like, here's some of the negative patterns, if you're looking at it, is that the wedding's really exciting, but the marriage is oftentimes really bad. So what I mean is of course it's an emotional adrenaline rush high when you establish a franchise and you like send $80,000 to the whatever, or however much it costs, and you get your truck wrapped and you go to the corporate office and get your picture taken, shaking the hand to the franchisees. Like, that's the wedding. That's really exciting. It's like a party, like everybody's proud of you. It's just awesome. But the marriage is where all the wealth is and where you need to build the actual business. And franchises oftentimes are really good at selling franchises. Like, that's a skill set. They know how to find people looking to start a business, and they know how to convince you that you need to buy into their system with your money and all that. So that's one skill set. But a completely separate and different skill set is actually helping people build and grow and automate and scale their own companies. Teaching at a deep level, helping people execute, helping people understand what to do in the right order. Most of the people that listen to this show feel overwhelmed by all their goals mainly because you don't know what to do first. and what to do second. Or you are working your guts out thinking you're doing the right thing, but it's not working. And if that's the case, that's why. It's because you're doing the wrong things in the wrong order. For example, we'll have a really small business that's building like super complex financial spreadsheets, and that's great, but that's the wrong thing. Like, we don't need that right now. It's not that it's not important. I'm not saying no, don't do that. I'm saying not yet. You only need to work on 1 or 2 or 3 things at a time at the most in the right order to scale. And that's why I talk about the 5 stages of business. And I try to help you guys visualize that there's different like milestones, there's different road markers like along your journey. And I think it helps give context a little bit. And if you're in stage 1, you only have to worry about getting to stage 2. And if you're in stage 2, all of your focus should be getting on to stage 3, right? And going from 3 to 4 requires a whole bunch of other stuff. So don't overcomplicate stuff. But franchises, they're not bad, but once you've been in one for a lot of years, you start really resenting that royalty that you're paying them, because you're usually not getting super deep, high-level support forever. You know, it's almost like they tell you to use money to buy your way out of problems. And for us as a business, like when people buy Bootcamp or they buy Send Gym, franchises are actually, it's easier to sell to a franchisee because you guys are trained to have no problem spending money on things, which isn't bad, but at the same time, it can be bad. Like, it's good for us because you're like, oh, an automation tool like Send Gym, I can automate my neighbor mailings, I can do thank you sequences, I can do all this cool stuff, I can send brownies, I can use Radius Bomb. It's easy to get you guys to give us money, but it breaks my heart when I see everybody struggling because of really simple stuff, that they're just not getting the clarity from their franchise, corporate, whatever. So money or time, those are the 2 things you have. And money is a luxury for most people. Most people don't have a ton of cash to start a business, but if you do, sure, you can skip right to the automated stage, but you better be really smart and you better be hanging out with people that have done that before, so that you don't make really dumb mistakes or put yourself at risk or overpay someone too quickly, which is another big issue. The guy, Adam, I talked to, he's paying a huge amount of pay to this one particular technician because the guy knows how to do everything. And that's really helpful if you're going to try to buy your way into an automated business, but it's super risky as well, because now you're held handcuffed, you're held hostage to that person. That's a scary thing, especially after you dump tens of thousands of dollars into a new venture. So spending some time in the field and getting an inside-out view of the operations and how things work and what it's like when you get a crazy customer and what it's like when something bad happens on a job site is really valuable for you as the business owner. So that's it, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless. Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for hanging out, friends. And from all of us here at the Quick Talk Podcast team, we hope you loved today's show. We hope that you were inspired to become a doer and not just a listener. Apply what you've heard today in your own business and watch things change for the better. Lastly, remember that all the money in the world can't save your soul. Seek first the kingdom of God, my friends. We'll see you next time.
For more information about the Quick Talk Podcast or Joshua's other businesses, visit our website, quicktalkpodcast.com. Have a blessed day.